Okay, so there's a 1 o'clock show that I'm gonna try and get. It's in the big top, I guess. Not as big as what they used to, but everyone's heading towards the big top over there.
Sorry folks, we had a great gag plan where a bunch of bowling balls were dropped on our heads, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Shall we move with the next stomach? We're the highest of insults, the lowest of frowns. Let's go to the gents yet. Don't even your pants much. When you see nothing but, simply nothing but, absolutely nothing but nonsense. Did anyone ever tell you you're a great juggler? All right, fellas, get along. Let's take it home. We pull down all the stops. Open no one. Call the cops. Cause we made it this far. Whatever. Resorting to mine. We could run enough slow. And get the crap from rubbing up. Right now the chance is damn hard. Wait, my leg is cramping hard now. Oi. Hey, you good? I'm fine. Well, acts like this might bury us. Where's the hilarious when I do it?
Joe! Where are you, Mrs. Joe? Please, Mrs. Joe!
I think this is the oldest one.
Guys, because there's a very interesting story about this. So in World War II, an American GI was traveling through England looking for unexploded bombs when he happened upon a dilapidated barn. When he opened up the barn, he found 13 wagons that looked just like these two. Fast forward to 1960, when Chappie Fox, who this building is named after, he was artistic director from 1960 to 1972, he was starting to put out his feelers to start the collection of wagons we have here today. All of a sudden the GI comes up to him and says, hey, you gotta check this out. Somewhere in England there's a barn full of wagons. And that's all the information he gave him. Using his connections to the English circus, he found out it most likely belonged to the Sir Fawcett Circus. Went to their farmstead and did find the barn the GI was talking about. When he went to go talk to the Fawcett family to consider them selling it, they were not interested at all. They were just like family members to them, and they really didn't want to sell them. So what they agreed upon is they would donate them to us for free with the promise that we would restore them and give them a good home. So that's exactly what we did. The taller one in the back is called the Fawcett and Jeanette Telescoping Tableau. When it got to the parade route, using a hand crank on the side, they would raise the tableau up to its full 30-foot height. Once it was done,
that goes up.
using that same hand crank, they would actually lower it right into that first level of the tableau. So it was a lot easier to move around. Other than the parade routes, however, it served absolutely no purpose for the circus because it is completely hollow on the inside, so you couldn't store anything in it. So please feel free to come a little bit closer because I'm going to. And you'll see me touch a lot of the wagon flying heads into the support beams underneath it. Not something you would have seen from the parade route, but still a nice touch. In existence in the world. You can actually see a picture of it being used in this photograph above the door. It is in Dublin, being pulled by horses. It was designed in England with nautical themes, as you can tell by the stylized dolphins on the side here, and at the front of the wagon that looks just like the mast of a boat. It was purchased by the Hampton Family Circus, which was a very famous horse show, and they made two major changes to the wagon. The first one was they added this board up here with their name on it, so you can see that it was actually a Hanford family. It represents a standard
Took 40 years to build.
In the 1930s. Specifically, this one is modeled after the Goldwyn Brothers Circus. Another circus that started right here in Baraboo alongside the Ringling Brothers. You would have the three main tents. You'd have the biggest tent that would be the main attraction with all your high wire jacks, your elephants, and that kind of stuff. The middle one would be your traveling menagerie for all your animals that you want to show up in. Just know you're in the presence.
That was in the movie Water for Elephants.
So, it's painted with the Royal Italian Circus on the side. It had never gone to Italy. Actually, it had never left England until it came over to the United States. It was actually owned by three Italian brothers, and they claimed it was in the presence of King George exactly once. So that's why they called it the Royal Italian Circus. I was kind of sad because they moved the wagons so we couldn't see it, which is very sad for me, but it's still very interesting. Considering the fact that it was actually missing from us for 30 years until someone Facebook messaged us and said, "Hey, I remember when I was a kid you guys wanted this wagon, do you still want it?" Yes. Yes. So, to cover all the wagons here, it'll take me 2.5 hours, so I'm just going to keep going. Again, if you have any questions about any of the wagons, just give me a holler, otherwise, here we go. And we're going to start over here with this wagon because it's the one that started our collection here at Circus World. We received this one in 1959. It was built in 1903. You'll hear me say the name 1903 a lot because that was the biggest year for wagon production in America. That was because in 1903, Barnum and Bailey had announced that they were coming back from their European tour, coming back to the United States. And so they kind of put everybody into a panic. Mainly because the Ringling Brothers had actually moved into Barnum and Bailey's East Coast area when they left. So when they came back and they were going to have this huge parade to announce that they were coming back, Ringling Brothers said, "Oh, we're going to have this awesome parade to announce that we came back," even though they never left. So they had 13 wagons made, and 13 wagons ordered, 7 were made, and 3 of them are here at Circus World, including this one right here. This is a Columbia Tableau. It was made by the Bodie Wagon Company in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I like to point it out because A, it's the first one we ever received, and B, when the wagons were on the road, they got into accidents pretty frequently. When you're pulled by trains, horses, and elephants, you tend to things happen. I like to put this up because on our way over to the back, you'll see pointing out an England wagon of the same collection that looks a little different than this one, even though it should look exactly the same. And that's because it was in a front-end collision. So to repair it, they cut back this footstep about 2 feet and then threw up carvings that generally matched it to make it look like a completed tableau. They could not lose wagons like this because they were their main storage wagons. So to lose a wagon like this means that you would lose all of a sudden a stable or a meal house, and you couldn't possibly do that. Pretty recently, but you know, people don't want to sell wagons, and that's completely fine. But what we do have here is 2 of the 4 continental tableaus they had. We have the Asian one right here, and we have the American one a little bit farther down that we won't be able to talk about on our tour, but it is here. during World War I, all the tableaus that Barnum Bailey had got stripped off and the iron was used for the war effort. Luckily, Asian Americans' tableaus were taken care of well enough that we could recreate them after the World War effort, but unfortunately Europe and Africa no longer exist. Some carvings from Africa do exist at the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit, but that's the only thing that really made it out. Put it back all the way to make it even, and then if you look at the front and follow the top around, it looks like it has a carving, and then all of a sudden it becomes a wooden pole. Basically, they cut a pole in half, threw it on there, and then colored it in. Like I said, they're really close to us, and because it's my favorite wagon in our collection, it cost $4,000. Today that would be about $98,000. So that one wagon alone costs that much, but it's absolutely worth it. The amount of carving that went into it is astonishing. It's called the best carved wagon ever made. And that's multiple different companies that called it that. You can actually, if you go up and touch the stuff on the side, you can actually see they carved a different pattern into the sand and the water. Because it's quite amazing. But I'm going to keep moving on down here. We're very lucky to have a corporate sponsorship that we've had.
Pocahontas.
The big one that we've had is the Brewing Company. Because of them, another corporation that really helped us out was Disney. When wagons would go out with their circuses out west and they would go out of business, Hollywood studios would buy up circus wagons for movie props, including this guy right here, which was purchased by Disney. It was used in a couple live-action films in the 50s, including The Greatest Circus and Jumbo the Elephant. It was also featured in one of the very first Main Street parades through Disneyland in 1955. When they opened Disneyland, they wanted to have a huge celebration to have everyone come in and say, hey, we're open. So they took a bunch of their 5 in Paris, France by the Gavioli Band Co. They made a bunch of other wagons, including one that was used actually in the House on the Rocks. So if you've seen that, they also made that one as well. This one came over in 1908 and was used for 8 years by a traveling circus before they went out of business and it got shut down. Fast forward to 1960s, 1950s, 1960s, where it was purchased by a traveling carnival that stripped everything out except for the organ parts. They used it for about 15 years before they went out of business and it went right back into storage. Luckily, a family found it, purchased it, and brought it to Merrill, Wisconsin in 1994 to have it completely redone as the band organ it came over to be. So this is very much how it would have looked when it came over from Paris, France, minus the cool 1960s shell that is around it right now. They didn't really have rubber wheels back then. There are 2 ways we can play the thing. We can still play it the old way with books that looked exactly like this, basically like a player piano. So each individual note is certain notes on the scale. So it'd be like, oh, this is an E, so your piccolos, your glockenspiel, your organ, your drum hits. There's a lot of different instruments that would play on here. And this controlled all of it, which is nuts. Nowadays, everything is electronic, so we do have a relay system in there that is computer generated. So we can control each individual's airstream, so we can have better arrangements and newer arrangements. Which is the last song I will play is from the 60s, so that's pretty new for us. But the rest of them are made around the 1910s and earlier. So I'll go ahead and keep this playing for you. The last thing I'll say is...
The history of our entertainment business in the U.S. All started with the circus, the greatest showman. We all know that now. This was pretty well worth the stop. Okay, I have not even been on that side yet. Rock and roll. These are all the photos taken. Wow, look at that one. What an amazing one. The circus photos. Oh, wow. Okay, you know me in photography. I'm just like totally amazed. Great photos. And this whole building is taken by Bill Johnson with an E. Oh, look at. It's where the gorilla used to be.
It's a form. We're in a little form book card.
I went down the stairs. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Green Archcage wagon number 19 is also known as a working cage.
Look at this.
Archcage. And what that means is it has three distinct compartments for horned lions or tigers with actually a runway right down the side.
Looks to me like Bengal tigers. This is also known as the Curtis cage, and the man who designed it built the William Cap Curtis.
Look at those tigers.
Oh, by the tigers. Two of them are together, one by himself. I'm assuming that for good reason.
You know, a lot of this stuff should be encased in something. I could see a lot of dust. Wow.
Warrant Officer Ronald Olson from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, heads up the
They need to put this under glass.
That's why you tell him to do stuff.
Mama indicates that becomes playful and not trying to kill us. You're the tiger or something. Maybe not. Yeah, here you go.
That girl is kind of like
No, they're back there. Yeah. Can you feel that? Yeah.
That's
My tigers and I travel with different circuses. We work in buildings for the Shriners and in big tops. But for a couple of months, we get to sit here and relax in beautiful Baraboo and get to share with you guys more of a behind-the-scenes look as to how we train our animals and why we train them. How we're able to not only develop some cool behaviors for our show, but we can take care of our boys and girls and to be able to build a relationship with them. It doesn't require... When you joined us 4 months away from the 60-pound he's almost 500 pounds. Just like 1884, my boys are pushing the food scale through the roof. We're feeding upwards of 70 to 80 pounds of raw meat a day. They did a diet of beef, chickens, organs, they did a vitamin supplement.
We're downtown here. Even the theater has that. Look at that. The town that the circus made